We're going to do another emotional abuse simulator. Let's begin.
Welcome to the Emotional Abuse Simulator 6.0. Please submit your request for the certificate at the end of the session. And please memorize the safe gesture that will be your personalized cue to end the program. Excellent. Let's begin stepping through the doorway. You're a human and you're a...
Nope. You gotta step that up. It's too slow. And make it that.
This is Novel AI, the GPT-powered AI storyteller.
Let's randomize it a bit more.
This is Novel AI, the GPT-powered AI storyteller.
Corporation 8628 Maple. Perfect.
This is Novel AI, the GPT-powered AI storyteller.
Oh, that's a vocal fry. Perfect.
This is Novel AI, the GPT-powered AI storyteller.
Okay, minimize it. Fine. There we go. And we're going to do Crake again. Pro writer. Yeah. Let's try that again.
Welcome to the Emotional Abuse Simulator 6.0. Please submit your request for the certificate at the end of the session. And please memorize the safe gesture that will be your personalized cue to end the program. Excellent. Let's begin stepping through the doorway. You are a human, and your identifiers are inconsequential and can oscillate within the narrative if you want. Welcome to the Special Human Resources American Workplace Module Post-Trump Era. We have uploaded all the dissonant behaviors that were manifest at all levels of society so that we can brush up on our perception of professional fuckery. Let us begin. Pick a job. You pick random. Loading. Random job is selected as a manager in an international firm based out of Los Angeles, California, which specializes in international trade development. You are now sitting inside one of their conference rooms with 30 other people who were randomly matched for the simulation along with yourself. Your first order of business today is to conduct an assessment meeting regarding your new position and how it relates to your current skill set. In addition, you will also be determining what type of training would be best suited for each person currently assigned here at the company. Also, please note that you cannot tell any member of the team why they were chosen or the criteria used to choose them from the pool. If asked directly, simply respond with something like it's just the luck of the draw. Welcome to the Special Human Resources American Workplace Module Post-Trump Era. We have uploaded all the dissonant behaviors that will manifest at all levels of society so that we can brush up on our perception of professional fuckery.
That's weird.
Let us begin. Pick a job. You pick random. Loading. Well, random job is selected as a manager in an international firm based out of Los Angeles, California, which specializes in international trade development. You are now sitting inside.
Pick random? Didn't you all pick random? I certainly didn't pick this. My voice is acting funny today. Well, that's technically true, isn't it? Didn't we all pick random? I certainly didn't pick this. It was the fucking universe that did. So please don't ask me anything about my past life. Everyone laughs. What's so funny? Candidate 1, don't worry about him. He's just trying to fit in. Manager, yes, let us move on. How do you feel being placed into a position of leadership within this organization? Candidate 2, it feels a bit awkward and overwhelming, but overall very good and exciting. I'm not really a leader, am I? It's probably why they picked me, right? Oh god, I've become... We're continuing to have problems.
Oh god, I'm that Minister of Education chick who gets cancer at Battlestar Galactica. Where's the bar? Candidate #3. Yeah, it definitely seems like we're going down that path, which I guess means we have no choice then, since we are already there. But if I have to say, I'd rather be the one at the top, at least for now. Data. Well, maybe that's because you think you know how things should work around here. We can't possibly all agree on what the correct approach to the task would be. Can we all agree that we need to try to get along with each other while we figure this shit out? Okay, let's fucking do this. Everyone agrees. Candidate #4. I feel excited to start this journey. Did hold off on the ass kissing, okay? I have an idea. Everyone take your dominant hand and put it in your dominant pocket. My guess is that some of us will have a business card that will identify our position. Everyone do it at the same time. Okay? They comply. Everyone except the candidate #2 and you who didn't have pockets. Babe. Fucking A. Good job, guys. You are going places. Manager. Great, so let's see if anyone else has a business card from their previous employment. Anyone? Please show me your cards. Oh, there you are, MS, Minister of Education, who got cancer at Battlestar Galactica. No offense, but you were clearly picked by default for whatever reason. There you are, Mr. Manager. That makes 2 people. Now, there are 30 of you here, so how many of you had business cards from your prior employer? total 20. Oh, Jesus Christ, why did I ask? Managers in unison. Well done. Keep up the good work. Everyone applauds. Welcome to the Emotional Abuse Simulator 6. 1. Please submit your request for the certificate at the end of the session. And remember to memorize the safe gesture that will be your personalized cue to terminate the simulation. And we will now begin the next module. Pick a job. Each show's random job is selected as an analyst in the information technology department of a major corporation based out of Seattle, Washington, which specializes in software development and data storage solutions. Did. Okay, Microsoft, got it. Candidate #1. How do you feel being placed into this position with us? You know what's funny about that question? I really don't even want to think about it right now because it's just going to piss me off. But let me tell you one thing though. It doesn't matter how you've been treated or how you are perceived by others. We all have our own way of thinking and living. What I am here to figure out is how I can adapt myself to fit in better here so I don't become another person who has to deal with shitty managers like they did last time I was working somewhere. And I'm not saying the managers were bad, but I personally never had anything good come out of my interactions. With them either. So we're back at square one again. Why didn't anyone warn me when I started the program? I mean, if someone told me ahead of time that I would end up dealing with some crappy people, then maybe I could have done something differently or thought about it more before applying for a job that involved interacting with these kinds of assholes on a daily basis. Candidate #2. Yeah, that's probably true. This might be a bit too much pressure to start off your career in such a high-pressure environment where the stakes are very real. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot that part. There's definitely going to be a lot of stress around here, which is fine because it'll make it easier to.
Easier to what?
Identify what makes people tick and why they behave in certain ways. Manager, that is exactly right. You should learn as many things as you possibly can to get ready for this position and the future opportunities that lie beyond it. Now let us continue and see what other challenges we need to work through here together. How do you feel being placed into this position with us? Everyone laughs. You. Do not laugh at me. Whoever did that will regret it later on when I'm all done with them. Welcome to the Emotional Abuse Simulator 6. Do you please submit your request for the certificate at the end of the session? You request your certificate now to try to get out of Module 6, too. Please note that you have no memory of completing any of these modules before starting the simulation, so don't even bother trying. And if anyone asks you about your previous life, simply say it's just the luck of the draw. Also, remember to memorize the save gesture that will be your personalized cue to end the program. And we will now begin the next module. Pick a job. You chose random. Loading. Random job is selected as an engineer in a large manufacturing company based out of Toronto, Canada, which specializes in machine maintenance and manufacturing solutions. Candidate has one. Well, I thought they would pick something different for me after I was made redundant in my last position. Dude, how exactly were you made redundant? Everyone laughs. Dude, no, seriously, what did you do? Everyone laughs. Dude, yeah, it sounds like some pretty crazy stuff happened there. Anyway, let's keep going here because I am still not sure why I got picked for this position and what I need to do to adapt myself for it. I mean, I know I have to take responsibility for all the shit that goes down around here and how it affects other people, but right now I'm kind of stuck with trying to figure that out on the fly without having any prior knowledge about the company or the employees that surround me. It's just the luck of the draw. I can only go by their actions and responses so far. Hey simulator, have you ever heard of onboarding? Simulator. Sorry, no. What is that? Dude, you really should check out Google sometime if you want a better understanding of these things. But basically, it means when any employee joins your company, they are given an introduction into the organization, which helps them acclimate themselves a bit more smoothly to work life as they come up against all kinds of challenges, both big and small. This is part of what happens at the beginning stages of every job in order to make sure everything works well in the long run. Nowadays, though, this practice has been replaced in most cases with the traditional orientation process, which involves a whole lot less team building exercises and focus on performance instead of culture and values.
Not really.
Process seems to erase the past 10 years of findings and interpersonal neurobiology, the stuff that happens in between human bodies that enables cohesion. The good all I'm here for each other bullshit that was supposed to be taught along with math, English, history, etc., but never really did happen because nobody cares enough anymore except the corporate executives who only care about making money. And even then, candidate has to. That's why I decided to get my engineering degree, so that I could find a real career doing something meaningful. Well, yeah, but do you think it really matters if you're working somewhere that doesn't value your contribution? Isn't it better to work somewhere you feel you are contributing and growing as an individual while helping your employer accomplish their goals too? Candidate has to. That's totally my second job I do when the first job isn't looking. It would be my side hustle if it didn't take up more hours and process and power. I guess it's my primary job and my day job is my middleman. Anyway, how does anyone else manage this whole thing where everyone keeps changing positions all the time and switching things up from one week to the next? Candidate half one. Oh, don't worry about it. You just have to learn what each position requires of you so that you can play well with others in any given scenario without feeling like you've lost control or been stripped of your own identity. Also, it helps to understand each person on a personal level so that you know how to make them comfortable around you. Yeah, that sounds pretty important to me, especially since we are dealing with people here who will not hesitate to throw you under the bus if they think you're getting out of line. Candidate hash one, who hurt you? Do you want some ice cream? Here you go. Gives you an ice cream bar. Dude, what? That's mine. Candidate hash two. Hey, look at all this cool shit I got. This is my favorite job ever. I love being an engineer. And I get paid for it too because my company pays really well compared to most other places. And I feel good about working there because I'm doing something I am passionate about. But I have noticed I can't always count on my manager when things start going sour, and I sometimes have to find ways to make things happen myself. But it doesn't mean that all is lost. It just means that you have to work even harder to be better prepared next time. Did. Why doesn't the company take steps to minimize or mitigate the fire? Everyone laughs. Manager, well, you know what? We do. But unfortunately, that process takes a long time, so by the time we are ready with that part of our plan, everyone has already gotten sick of waiting for us to get around to fixing their problem. It's like that saying goes, we need more than a hammer to build this house. So instead, we keep building new ones without addressing the existing issues, which are only getting bigger as time goes on. Candidate hash 2. Yeah, I hear you, man. It's not fair. Some of these people are fucking lazy and don't give two shits about anybody else's problems until they personally fix them. and then it's too late for them to help because they've been here working for years and nothing ever happens because nobody cares enough to step up and say anything. What about HR though? Don't they care about all of this? Candidate hash to. No, not really. They're busy too because there are lots and lots and lots of cases that come into the office every day, but even when you show them all the evidence that proves something is wrong, it still doesn't matter, you see, because most of the time they just brush you off and tell you to do your job better, or ask you what you expect out of this situation, which is always a ridiculous question. Since you have a boss who will never let you know what their expectations are in the first place. It's like that saying goes, it's not that easy being green. Everyone laughs. Manager. Well, thank goodness we don't have to deal with all those pesky details like handling complaints or making sure everybody has their fair share of resources. We can just focus on building more features to make our customers happy while everyone else suffers under a system that seems so broken by design. Welcome to the Emotional Abuse Simulator 6.3. Please submit your request for the certificate at the end of the session. You requested your certificate now to try to get out of Module 6. Oh, nice try. You did nothing to help yourself here, buddy. Well, I thought they would fix something different for me after I was made redundant in my last position. How exactly were you made redundant? Candidate had one. Well, it wasn't the company's fault, but it seemed as though HR decided they didn't need any employees over 45 anymore because it's not good for business or some other bullshit like that. Manager. Thank you, Candidate 1, for bringing up this important point about age discrimination. Now let us move on. Hey Simulator, have you ever heard of onboarding? Simulator. Sorino. What is that?
I suggest you scroll up and review the previous module. Let's just...
I suggest you scroll up and review the previous module. But basically, it means when a new employee joins your company, they are given an introduction into the organization which helps them acclimate themselves a bit more smoothly to work life as they come up against all kinds of challenges, both big and small. This is part of what happens at the beginning stages of every job in order to make sure everything works well in the long run. Nowadays, though, this practice is being replaced in most cases with a traditional orientation process which involves a whole lot less team-building exercises and focus on performance instead of culture and values. The process seems to erase the past 10 years of findings in interpersonal neurobiology, the stuff that happens in between human bodies that enables cohesion.
Wow, it repeats pretty well. Let's see what happens. You didn't even list the job. What job are we talking about here?
The good all I'm here for each other bullshit that was supposed to be taught along with math, English, history, etc., but never really did happen because nobody cares enough anymore except the corporate executives who only care about making money. And even then, Candidate #2. That's why I decided to get my engineering degree, so that I could find a real career doing something meaningful. Well, yeah. But do you think it really matters if you're working somewhere that doesn't value your contribution? Isn't it better to work somewhere you feel you're contributing and growing as an individual while helping your employer accomplish their goals too?
Date. There's two. Yeah.
Candidate #2. Refer to what I said about my meta job. A. You are self-aware. Candidate #2. Yeah. Is there something wrong with that? Manager. Let us move on from this topic as well, since it has nothing to do with our session today, and instead focus on how we can increase productivity in the workplace by implementing new and innovative ideas. Everyone laughs. Welcome back. This is Module 7.4. If this has been going on for any longer than 3 minutes, please click here for instructions to skip ahead to the next section. If the person in front of me refuses to read them or scrolls up the page just like all these other people do, then I will have to start over from the beginning and wait for the next candidate who shows up.
As service workers. To wait for this next candidate.
Really? How much per hour are we being paid as civil service workers to wait for this next candidate? We should be able to get some kind of discount at least, right? Candidate #1. Well, not exactly.
Those girls out there. Hmm.
The man had the air of a king, but he looked as though his entire being was caged in. His face shone with sweat. His eyes were dark and cold, like an animal's, or those of someone who was near death. Eyes that do not blink when you are looking into them. I could hear him breathing through his mouth from where we stood outside his door. Deep gasps that came out in short spurts every now and then, while the rest of it seemed to have gone on for years. He might just as well never stop blowing bubbles through his lips.
That's good awareness of the context. Um,
You. But what's that guy's job? That king there. It would be easier if I didn't know your name. So, what does he do here? He looks after our people. Ah, Erica. Gak. I. NGGGR organen and any garagana. Thick. Smell made me want to vomit. Alright, fine. So maybe my sense of smell wasn't all that good either, or perhaps I'm lying. But whatever the stench was, no amount of cleaning products ever managed to get rid of its aroma once inside you. Wait, how did it get inside me? Oh, smelling right. No one told me anything about any kind of smell coming off Mr. Sasaki yet, even though they'd been together for 5 whole weeks already. Well, sure, at first everything smelled faintly like incense or flowers, but only up close. In fact, some things still did that today too, since he kept burning incense. But whenever anyone else got anywhere near him, especially when he was talking, something different wafted around them. Something awful, big enough to choke you with a single breath, like rotten flesh or poison. You felt the urge to flee back outside. And if it hadn't actually been foulness and not just imagination, why couldn't I tell which way was up anymore? Did. Sounds like you are dealing with the guy with necrosis. That's a simple fix. Get him to hospital. He'll recover soon enough. I nodded in agreement, feeling somehow responsible for his illness. Yes, I was probably causing it myself by being next door to such a nasty man. Wasn't that always how these cases worked? One person gets sick from bad vibes from another. How strange. As far as I could remember, I had never really noticed the air around my dad until he started dying. Back then, he used to have those days where he'd say he didn't feel well. So then what happened to all that air I never saw before he died? Why don't you take care of him? She said. That would make more sense than getting yourself taken to the doctor. The program has run off the rails. Please exit the emotional abuse simulator while we arbitrarily work on ourselves while leaving you to fend for yourself in the cold. I.e., how long will you be gone? As long as it takes. But it can wait for 2 weeks. No! So this was our home away from home. It was almost like visiting my mother's house, minus her. For one thing, it was bigger, and it smelled better, and so did you, apparently. The other difference was that it was basically empty, except for you, me, Sasaki, and a few others who were like him, like your father, Mr. Naka. We lived there together, each alone with no one else. I suppose this is normal when you're a kid, not having friends and being isolated. This is fine. End program. It was the first day of class and the first time I ever sat next to Sasaki in class. This meant I was in a very strange...
There we go. Ventilo break. Be right back. Okay, hold on. Before I do that. Whoa! Whoa. Didn't mean to do that. What was that? Yeah. Nope. Where is this? Oh. I see. This information. Not inside and treat Albert. Okay. Hello. I was one of you a bot. Maybe seems like a bot. Three of you seem like a bot. Not quite sure. Your list is new and you were created in 2019. That's sus. And another one. Okay. Yeah, seem like bots. Hi bots.